وكل ذي علم عليم.
نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم وبعد. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Alhamdulillah, with Allah's help and assistance, once again, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us an opportunity to be part of a weekly reminder where certain aspects related to our lives are discussed from a religious perspective, and how are we to attain Allah's pleasure in our day-to-day lives on various different aspects will be covered in this. And today's talk is connected to what we discussed in our last session in the last week. So before we start today's content, I would like to give a brief about what we had already discussed last time, a quick overview on the subjects we covered there. Basically, the previous week's topic and this week's topic's common the discussion or the study is on dealing with hardships, dealing with trials and tribulations in life. That is the topic of discussion. And last week, we focused a lot on how to mentally prepare ourselves, or how to make up our minds when we are facing different types of tests. In other words, what are certain truths about tests which we need to remember inside us so that we can face those tests successfully and attain Allah's pleasure. Of that, one of the key points we discussed was Allah knows what is best for us, right? We gave the example of we know the pixel and Allah knows the bigger picture, right? So the test we are facing is just a pixel of the image, and Allah knows the bigger picture. And the example we quoted for that was Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam and Yaqub alayhi salatu wasalam losing him and whatever happened after a couple of decades. Then the second thing we discussed last week was that Allah doesn't burden any human being beyond his or her capacity. So any test we face in this worldly life, it is within our capacity. It is never, Allah doesn't intend any difficulties upon us, but everything is bearable. Everything is bearable. The third point was after every hardship comes two reliefs. Inna ma'al usri yusra, inna ma'al usri yusra. That was the verse of the Quran which we highlighted. So we might have one hardship in life. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has kept many doors to come out of it. That is basically the literal meaning of that verse. That's number 3. And the final point we discussed was about never lose hope in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's help and his mercy. That too, again, we went back to the story of Yaqub alayhi salatu wassalam. Even though he was separated from his son for more than 3 decades, still his hope, he was optimistic that Allah's help will come. He was optimistic that one day Yusuf will return home, and it did happen the way he thought, and he never lost hope in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if you look at the 4 points we discussed last time, it's all connected to how mentally we need to prepare ourselves when we are facing tests or hardship in life. So today's talk, as you all would have seen, it has got to do with a list of, it's a to-do list as Muslims we need to follow, insha'Allah ta'ala. Anyways, before I go into what needs to be done, now let's get into, let's talk about reality. Whether a person is believing in Allah or not, it doesn't matter. When it comes to tests, Muslims have to deal with it, non-Muslims have to deal with it as well, and end of the day, every human being is tested in different ways. But the difference is how a believer handles it and how a non-believer handles it, right? When it comes to a non-believer in Allah, this person, when they are confronted with this, they will be solely dependent on themselves, their decisions, their efforts. So they will do their maximum, and they will think that the solution to the hardship, the solution to the problem is me. So the entire thing, evolves around me, I. That is how they look at it. But we Muslims have some things unique to us, which they don't have. And one of the unique factors, which we are going to discuss today, our deen, our Islam has taught us certain good deeds. We call them a'mal. That is unique to the believers. And the other important factor which believers have the privilege is the element or the aspect of barakah in their life. Okay. Yeah. So we have two things. One is the a'mal, the actions we need to do, and number two, the barakah, the aspect of barakah in our lives. Let's take, for example, certain good deeds can change the situation of the world. All of us are familiar with a prayer called Salatul Istisqa. That is the salah which we perform at the time of drought, during the time of famine, when there is no rainfall. That is the salah which is performed. In Arabic, we call it Salatul Istisqa, salah seeking for rain. And many of the times, even if you are to go online and look for some videos on this, you will see the salah is over, and immediately the area which was struck with drought or famine, I mean drought, where there was no water, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends down the rain because of 2 raka'at. So a'mal, our actions can change the situation of the world. Our 2 raka'at can change the situation of the world. So we believers have to, including myself and all of us, have to remember that 2 raka'at of salah is not something very trivial. Maybe we might take 3 minutes or 10 minutes to do that, but we should remember that it can change the situation of the entire globe. If you open books like Hayatul Sahaba, where it is mentioned about how the Sahaba, the companions of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, the types of help they achieved through 2 raka'at of salah, there are numerous incidents mentioned. So that is teaching us, through amal, through actions, you can come out of hardship. That's one. Then the element of barakah, which is again unique to all of us, as I told you earlier, it is a type of growth, an extraordinary growth in anything you have on strong foundation, an extraordinary growth on strong foundation. So a person will have little money, and that little money will suffice to do many things. For example, a person will have limited time, but they will accomplish many tasks, right? So extraordinary growth on a strong foundation. That's what basically barakah is. So what we need to do is, when we are tested, we have different individuals have different tests. Nowadays, especially, we talk a lot about the financial crisis, the economic crisis. The income is less, the expenses are more. This is talk of the country or many parts of the globe. We talk about inflation. We talk about various different things happening on the financial side. In addition to that, some are tested with sicknesses, some are tested with worries, grief, anxiety, some go into depression, and many things like this due to their tests. But whatever the test may be, we are supposed to, as Muslims, again, remind ourselves that when we are faced with a test, we need to turn to the one who sent the test to us. Whenever we are tested, we need to turn to the one who sent the test to us. We believe Allah is the Mudabbir. Mudabbir means the one who handles all affairs, the one who manages all affairs. So he is the one who created the situation. Whatever situation currently we are facing in our lives, all that was created by him. That situation, that phase in our life was created by him. So primarily, we need to turn to the one who created the situation and then focus on doing the right thing. Focus on doing the right thing. Unfortunately, because of the weakness in our iman, our yaqeen, our conviction, we tend to focus more on what needs to be done and forget getting back to our Creator and getting his support to execute the plan we have come up with. So we focus more on the execution of plans, taking certain decisions. We focus a lot on that, but we forget the other side, which is the spiritual aspect of getting connected to Allah. But Muslims, we are taught to do both parallelly. Yes, you need to get connected to your Creator, and at the same time, you need to plan, you need to decide, you need to do the right thing. For example, during the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there was a companion who he was about to travel for business purpose to Bahrain. So he comes to Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam and he says, Ya Rasulullah, I am planning to travel to Bahrain. So in our context, I'm going on a business trip to Bahrain. I'm going on a business trip to China or Dubai, whatever, in today's context. And Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam told him, before you undertake your journey, pray 2 rak'ats. The narration is in Tabrani. So what does this teach us? Okay, you're going on the business trip, there's nothing wrong with that. You want to make some money, you want to earn some halal income because you don't want to be stuck with poverty and, with financial crisis. So you're doing something right, which Islam encourages you to do. But before you take that step, perform 2 rakats of salah. So this is one example. So when a person, when we include or when we bring Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala into the equation, and whenever we do certain things, that helps us in the long run. That helps us in the long run. Now, for example, overnight we can't bring changes. All what we are going to learn today, I don't think we can practice it tomorrow. But it is a gradual process. We need to plan, we need to think what to prioritize, what is convenient. We need to plan that out. We can't bring this change overnight, especially when it comes to getting connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when it comes to dealing with our day-to-day life. So it takes, you need to practice it frequently, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is there with us all the time, right? So these are things which we are supposed to do, proactive measures. We see that for us to even remember that Allah is the one who is handling my affairs. Whatever happened today was due to Allah's plan. I was supposed to get this, I was targeting 100,000 income, but I only make 90,000 a month. So this 10,000, then being worried over the 10,000 which we are missing out on. If a person is connected to Allah, that is going to help him not to be stressed out too much on what he or she has missed out on. Right, anyways, these are small things we need to do. But remember, a famous quote is, having Allah with you in your life is like sailing in a ship which can withstand any storm. Having Allah with you in your life is like sailing on a ship which can withstand any storm. The opposite of this is not having Allah with us in our lives is like sailing in a ship Maybe our business is a ship, our family is a ship, our spouse is a ship, could be different things, but it will not be able to withstand all the storms. So with that being said, let's move into the list of things which we can do. These are things which we already know, to be honest with you. We already know. Our parents would have taught us, but still, Quran tells us, وَذَكِّرْ فَإِنَّ الذِّكْرَى تَنْفَعُ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. Remind. Indeed, reminders benefit the believers. Indeed, reminders benefit the believers. So with that in mind, this is going to serve as a reminder, and let's take it and see what we can practice, insha'Allah ta'ala, and inshallah face the hardships and difficulties and trials in whatever we are facing, and to face in the right way, inshallah. So point number one, start the list with, is we need to allocate time in seclusion with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is number one. Now let's take somebody is undergoing a financial crisis. The business is going on a loss. The family relationship is in a turbulent state. Parenting has become tough. Various different challenges, to name a few. When all these things happen, usually, as I told right at the beginning, we tend to focus on what do I need to do? What do I need to do? Let me go and meet so-and-so. Let me meet this expert. Yes, you do that. There's nothing wrong with that. While you do that, while you prepare yourself for all that, just devote some time with your Allah privately. So what happens here is, according to a hadith, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks to me and you, says, Ya bana Adam, just listen to this hadith. Ya bana Adam, O son of Adam, tafarragh li ibadati, devote yourself for my worship. Devote yourself for my worship. We are not talking about the 5 times salah. 5 times salah is something obligatory which all of us have to do. But this hadith is referring to something extra. You go out of your way and you do things. So tafarragh li ibadati, devote yourself to my worship. If you do that, what will I do to you? Amla sadraka ghinan, I will fill your heart with contentment. I will fill your heart with contentment. Not only financially, but with all what you enjoy in your life, you will be contented with that. Amla sadraka ghinan wa asudda faqrak. Wa asudda faqrak. The second benefit of devoting ourselves in Allah's worship, Allah tells us, I will take care of your poverty. I will take care of your poverty if you devote your time for my worship. Thereafter, the hadith continues, Wa illa, O son of Adam, if you are so busy that you can't devote time for me, what will I do? Mala'tu yadayka shughla. Mala'tu yadayka shughla. I will fill your heart with worldly concerns. Like all of us know, we compare the worldly, the rat race. Everybody early in the morning, we kick off our day, we start off, and it's like a rat race. It's like a rat race, but unfortunately, nobody wins the race. This hadith says, Mala'tu yadayka shughla. I will fill your heart with worldly concerns. Your worry, your ultimate goals in your life is, how do I attain this? How do I attain this? It becomes materialistic goals in your life. You become engrossed with that. Walam asudda faqrak, and I will not take care of your poverty. I will not take care of your poverty. I will leave it to you. You find your way to come out of the difficulties in your life. You're stuck with financial crisis, you find your way. You give your time, you give your effort, but remember, you can give all that, but what is destined for you is what you're going to get. So this is a beautiful hadith. Next time when we sit in our musallas, if we go to the masjid, or let's take some time from our 24 hours and just give some me time. between me and my Allah. That's it. In Arabic, we call it munajat, where we have secret conversations with Allah and do certain a'mal during those times. So this is number one, devote time to Allah's worship. Let's move on to the second one. I hope if you all can note these things down, it will be beneficial as well, because we can share it with our family, our friends as well. Number two is, which all of us know, again, it is salah, prayers. Our prayers have a direct impact on how we can get things done, right? Quran says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, talking to us, addressing us, O believers, Ista'inu bis-sabri was-salah, seek help with patience and with salah. So when we perform our salah, we are basically, that is why we have a salah called Salatul Haja, where the riwayat is in Tirmidhi, where Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, when a person performs 2 rak'at of salah and they put forward their need to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah would respond to them. Allah would fulfill that need to them. So that is what is called Salatul Haja. The Arabic word Haja means need. So each one has different needs, right? Sometimes somebody opens, or somebody goes to office, and he's expecting an increment. He's been working for some time, he's expecting an increment, but nothing is happening, no bonus, nothing happening. Inflation in the country, and he's wondering, do I switch the jobs, or do I quit from here, try a new job? He's confused. But when a person performs his salah, and then he makes dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asking for help, we should remember that certain help or assistance which comes our way, Allah has kept a system for that. Usually we see something coming in front, somebody come to us and help us. Those who have experienced it know it. An unknown person, or somebody from the family, or someone comes all of a sudden and helps us, does something to us, and eases the burden of the hardship we are already having. And to be honest, we wouldn't have even disclosed the difficulty we were undergoing. But this person all of a sudden comes forward and helps us. How did this all happen? It happened because Allah is the owner of the hearts. Allah put our names, Allah reminded us in their hearts, and Allah made that person think about helping us. And Allah gave His divine assistance to that person to help us. That is how the help reached us. That's how the help reached us. So if we are to experience unseen help, this is how it works. Somewhere in the world, Allah puts that thought into somebody's heart, and it happens. Or Allah changes the situation in some people's lives. Like last time I told you about what happened to a person who met with an accident. Allah would change the situation and bring something better in our lives. So salah and dua together is going to be very helpful. And okay, now let's come to a couple of, a dua which all of us can read. That's number 3, I would say. Going after salah, it's dua. There is, one day there was a Sahabi, a companion of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, was in the masjid. And he was in the masjid when usually people don't go to the masjid at that time. So Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam saw him in the masjid, and he comes to him and he asks him, "Oh Abu Umama," the Sahabi's name was Abu Umama. He said, "Abu Umama, what makes you come to the masjid when people don't come to the masjid at this time?" Sahabi, he's a human, he said, "Ya Rasulullah, I have got grief, I have worry in my life, and I have debts in my life. I have worry and debts. I'm stuck financially. I'm down." Then that is what made me come to the masjid. So similarly, our case too, whether you're a brother or sister, hit your musalla, hit your forehead on the ground, sujood. That's what we are supposed to do. But Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam taught him a very beautiful dua. He said to Abu Umama radiyallahu an, recite this dua, Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-hammi wal-huzn. Ya Allah, I seek refuge with you from
anxiety and depression. In our words, Ya Allah, I seek refuge in you from anxiety and depression, worry and grief. You can translate it with various different wordings. And Ya Allah, protect me from being lazy. Ya Allah, protect me. I seek refuge with you from debt, and I seek refuge with you from being overpowered by men. So this is a very short dua. So Abu Umama radiallahu anhu, he says, I recited this dua for some time, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala eased my burdens and removed all my debts. So this dua is an amal we can follow when we are in a situation like this. Another dua is which Salama radiallahu anha recited after her husband passed away. So Salama radiallahu anha and Abu Salama, both of them, a wonderful couple. They were like the pioneers into Islam. They migrated to Abyssinia. If you are familiar with history, we will know that. So Abu Salama passes away. So when Abu Salama passes away, Salama was worried. Obviously, her beloved husband has passed on, and she was thinking, like, who is going to replace my husband's loss? Who is there for that? And then she was taught a dua, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un, which all of us know, which is translated as, to Allah we belong, to him we return. And then she said, Allahumma ajurni fi musibati. Ya Allah, reward me for the musibah, in the sense, the calamity, the hardship I am facing. So loss of my late husband is a loss. It's a hardship. It's grief. Ya Allah, reward me for this. Allahumma ajurni fi musibati wakhluf li khayran minha, and replace the loss with something better. Now that was a dua. She says, I was wondering who is better than Abu Salama. I didn't know anyone who would have been better than Abu Salama, but I kept on reciting the dua. That's what she said. She received the proposals of Umar radiallahu an, which she didn't accept. She got the proposal of Abu Bakr radiallahu an, she didn't accept. And finally, she got the proposal of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and she got married. She had the privilege of being called Salama. By the dua, the blessing of the dua, she becomes a Ummahatul Mu'mineen, a mother to all the believers. So anyone, not only losing the husband, any loss which happens, if we are to recite, we usually recite the first part of the dua, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. But this part of the dua is what is very, very important. We are asking Allah to reward us, and we are asking Allah to replace the loss with something better. So memorize this dua as well and practice it, insha'Allah ta'ala. Point number 4 is, and then we are done, insha'Allah ta'ala, with one more point. We need to set our goals and we need to have visions. This is point number 4. This is also encouraged in the hadith. This is encouraged in the hadith. Quite a long hadith, but interesting, where Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, a strong believer is better and more beloved to Allah than a weak believer. A strong believer is better and more beloved to Allah than a weak believer. Thereafter, he said, although both are good, whether you are a strong believer or a weak believer, it doesn't matter. Both have their own equal goodness. Thereafter, he said, ihris ala ma yanfa'u. Strive to seek that which will benefit you. Look for avenues which will benefit you. You might be stuck in a situation in your life, but don't sit and just wonder and ponder over the hardship you're undergoing, but look for options to come out of it. Ihris ala ma yanfa'u. You need to study, go study. You need to look for a job, go look for a job. Do the right thing. Ihris ala ma yanfa'u. Seek that which will benefit you. Wala ta'jaz. Don't be lazy. Don't be lazy. And do the right thing. That is what the hadith is teaching. Do the right thing. And have Allah connected. You be connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Thereafter, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he teaches us a very important thing. You do all this and still there will be situations, things don't go your way. It doesn't go according to your expectations. Then what are you supposed to say? Say, قَدَّرَ اللَّهُ مَا شَاءَ فَعَلْ. Say, whatever Allah has decreed has happened. But never use the word if. If in a sense, law, the Arabic word law means if. If I had done this, this wouldn't have happened. If I had met so and so, it wouldn't have happened. If I had taken this decision, this thing wouldn't have happened. Don't use the word if after you have done everything right. Whatever comes is in the decree of Allah. Because if we use the word if, we are opening the doors for shaitan to come and play with our belief. Finally, to conclude with, this is something which some of us might struggle to do, is wake up early in the morning. Wake up early in the morning and start your day. Start your day right in the morning. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam talks about, he mentions in the hadith, Allahumma barik li fi ummati fi bukuriha, kama qala sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Fi riwayat, in another narration, he says, the early part of the day of my ummah is blessed. And in another hadith, he said, Ya Allah, bless my ummah during the early morning. What does this teach us? Yes, again, we are in the midst of hardship. We are in troubled waters. Everything is going not in our favor. But still, waking up early in the morning and planning out what needs to be done, getting spiritually connected to Allah, and mentally, psychologically, and whatever other things related to our life, if we start to do our work, we get our best ideas during those times. If we are to do that, insha'Allah ta'ala, we will have the barakah which Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam has mentioned. So if you want to, if we are aspiring to become successful people, if we want to become people who are optimistic, who will be able to sail on a ship which can withstand any storm, we need to wake up early in the morning and start our day, and then devote our time to Allah, our salah, our dua, all that included. So to end today's session, I would like to leave you with a quote. A test that brings you close to Allah is better for you than a success that takes you away from Him. A test that brings you closer to Allah is better for you than a success that takes you away from Him. So any test which comes in our way, it is an opportunity for us to get connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Let's keep this in mind and do the right thing. Let's plan, do all what we can do within our means. Let's use our intellect, our intelligence, and do the best efforts. Like Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, tie your camel and then trust in Allah. We do all that, but then we leave the results to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When we do this, because in order to come out of a hardship, we need to do certain efforts, right? And when we do according to what we have learned today in this session, inshallah, Allah will open His doors where we will see His help right in front of us. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us, give us the divine assistance and tawfiq to practice what we have learned today, and also help us to impart this knowledge to others and make others benefit as well. Jazakumullahu khairan for being part of this session today. So we can conclude with that, inshaAllah ta'ala. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Subhanallah bihamdihi, subhanakallah wa bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.